Hello everybody. I think I'm live. I'm gonna try to live stream, and I was thinking of Wednesdays should be a fun stream, right? So I was like, let's do vibe coding uh, Wednesday vibe live stream. I think it'll be fun. So I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of hang out, try to vibe code and build stuff. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is because there's so much hype around AI of is AI really going to replace developers? What can you do with AI? And I think it's important to kind of play around with these AI tools and kind of see where or what do they actually do or help us to achieve. And one of the things that I'm going to kind of share and hope to do through experimenting with it, number one, you get better at using them, but also at the same time to kind of show you hey, you still have to know what you're doing to use these AI powered tools. I know there's a lot of fear of, developers going to get replaced by AI, but to be honest, I don't know anybody personally, and I have a lot of friends who are developers who lost their job because of AI. I know a lot of my friends who are developers, some of them use AI at their day-to-day work, some of them don't, and they all have mixed feelings. For some things, they say AI is amazing, and for some things, it's fails amazingly, and so what is the truth and what is the hype? I think I want to explore that from many different perspectives, and I think it's going to be really fun way to kind of build things. But anyway, if you're joining in the chat, say hello. I don't expect a big turnaround. Wednesday evening, it is a random day to stream, but for me, I want to kind of get into a schedule. So I'm streaming Wednesday 8 p.m. CST time. I want to do Friday 8 p.m. CST time. Just kind of hang out, stream. I think that'll be cool. Anyway, if you're in chat, say hello. Otherwise, I will just keep working away, experimenting and playing with things. Maybe Wednesday is a tough night for people to tune in, which I totally understand. But I'm going to try it out and see what happens. And so today I'm going to kind of think about what to build and what to do. And for today's video, I want to kind of stay in Next.js land for a little bit. And for some of the AI tools that I want to try to build something with V0 front end. And I think it should all start kind of knowing what it is that you want to build. And so maybe we could think of something together, or maybe we just wing it. One of the things that I was exploring from different tools is kind of how do you prompt? Do you do it in pieces? Do you try to one-shot everything, meaning you give one master prompt and you expect it to kind of do the whole thing? And I don't know. So one of the things that I want to do is let's think of some cool ideas or use cases. What would be a useful application to make? And so maybe we could build an application that takes a YouTube video transcript and converts it into a social post for your social or something like that, or some sort of thing where that could be useful for someone. Let's say someone is a marketer and they have a blog post, maybe they have a YouTube video, and all they want to do is automatically create those kind of posts and automatically post them. So we could think about it. And sometimes because I am gonna try to vibe code, so I think kind of this idea of thinking through what we want to do, and maybe I don't know what to build, and maybe we could actually ask ChatGPT what we want to build. And by the way, I'm on a different computer now, so hopefully I'm logged in. If not, I'll log in quickly. Yes, I'm logged in. And let me know if you want me to make the screen bigger or not. It seems to be okay. So I think when you're coding something and you want to build something, I think trying to figure out a problem you want to solve. And by the way, if you're in chat and you want to give some ideas of kind of an app you want to build, let me know and we'll explore building something together. But let's say just start by thinking of some ideas. And I apologize for the sun. I forgot to close my window. We're going to have to deal with it. I got this sun effect happening. But let's say you work for a company that wants to make it easier for you to redistribute social post. And let's say you want to easily make social post through taking either a YouTube video transcript or a blog post. And so let's start with that. And so, hey, chat GPT, I don't know, I'll talk to it like a human. Can you help me come up with some app ideas to help me improve in creating automated social posts for Twitter and LinkedIn from blog posts or video transcripts. Let's start here, see what it says. Because I'm actually like really want to try to challenge myself actually to vibe code as much of this as possible and not try to think about it as, you know, from the developer perspective. Because I do want to see like what and how far are these tools going to go. And actually that's very obnoxious with my lights. I'm going to step out for a second and close them. My window, it's ridiculous. Like I'm going to blind myself for sure. I think that's better. I think that's going to be better. So yeah, that's definitely definitely less obnoxious. So okay, here's an idea. PostGen Studio purpose: automatically generate multi-social post variations from blog posts or transcript. So features: input paste blog URL or upload transcript. Output generates 5 to 10 social posts. Style preset LinkedIn. Yeah, so I think this is kind of cool. And so or thread craft AI. First, break long form content into engaging Twitter or LinkedIn threads. Features the text sections, headers. Let's start with the first one just to kind of keep it easy. So the most naive thing, not thinking or focusing about anything. Let's say we could take this prompt and we could probably go ahead into V0. I like V0 because I do a lot of stuff with Next.js. And so from this perspective, it makes it like nice if you work with Next.js, you like Shed-CN UI. V0 is a cool tool, but like, and this is the tool I want to start with, but my favorite tool like for now is Lovable, but I do use V0 a lot. But let's say we'll just paste it in and kind of not give any context and see like in one shot. And let me make this bigger just so we could see what it comes up with. And I guess the first thing like that I want to kind of showcase here when using AI or building something with AI, like it's not a magic bullet. Like notice I'm not doing too much planning at the moment from thinking about what I want to do. I'm not diagramming. I'm literally kind of saying to ChatGPT, hey, give me some ideas. Let's come up with a first idea, and then let's just pop it into like V0 and kind of see what it comes up to. Maybe we want to think through it a little bit more and kind of get an idea, but I just want to start with the bare minimum, kind of the least effort possible, and kind of see like AI tools like magic gonna just generate something. Like I'm so sick and tired of like while this generating. Let me like tell you some. So I'm so sick and tired of like people who like flaunt on building these like I build a 6-figure business by generating like AI automated agents that code all my projects for me. Like where's the proof? Like I know you talking on Twitter or LinkedIn, but show me your bank account, show me checks. And some people like look, I could like I'm sure like people could fake that. And I'm not saying there aren't people that using AI to make money, but it's not like it's a make money easy kind of thing. It's like everything is hard, everything takes work. And so part of these streams, I kind of want to explore like what is the hype and reality. And then I also want to use AI. And maybe someone in chat will be like, dude, you're using AI wrong. That's why you don't have that $1 million project. Or you get to see like the reality of kind of like, hey, it's actually not as straightforward. And by the way, if you have any questions in chat or you want to add something, and let me know if my music's still out, I don't want it to be distracting. Like definitely, like I want to keep it conversational. Let me know. So let's come back here. And I think like you don't need to see too much of my face. I'm going to kind of switch it here and make this full screen to make it easier for us and increase the size. So it went ahead and created this idea. And so the first thing, like I'm going to say like, okay, that kind of looks cool. You have like style presets, Twitter, clickbait, hooks. And like if I hit generate social posts, it's doing something. But I think all of this is hard-coded. So like we have this very naive kind of project, but I'm pretty sure if you take a look at the code, like it's probably not like hooked up. It probably doesn't do anything. And so it's okay. We're starting like the first version and we're starting from kind of scratch. Like the cool thing about like V0, like you could take a look at the code and you could see kind of like all the stuff that they have. One thing is, if you could pull it locally, so handle generate. Right now, they're kind of not doing any implementation. So I know that Vercel has a thing called AI SDK Vercel. And so we could say, hey, we want you to create some sort of endpoint or a server action that kind of will use this toolkit. So let's go ahead and see if we could prompt it. I want to try to get a bunch of stuff done before pulling the code and taking a look at it. But at the moment, though, like one thing that we know, it's like, hey, we prompted, it created something, but not of the things are hooked up. So like if you're a non-developer, right? A lot of people like AI does everything, right? No, like AI clearly didn't do everything, not even close. And the whole point here is like I have to drive it a lot. Like I have to really think about what I want to do. But I'm going to try not to drive as much. I'm going to try to focus on AI kind of helping me do that. So I could either ask it here, say, hey, utilize AI SDK to handle the social post generation. Here is the URL for the docs, and see like what it does. And again, like the whole point that I want to see here, I want to try to be as general as possible, not go into like too many crazy details. I wanted to kind of guide it in more like open style way and kind of see like what it will do. And so we'll take a look. And so the point that I'm trying to do is like kind of play with these tools enough to kind of see where they're good at, where they're bad at, and more importantly, to kind of for people who are new to web development and who may like got kind of caught up in the hype of watching like a lot of the content on AI is taking this, like the guy on NVIDIA talk about how you don't need to be a developer or all this other stuff. I want to kind of be like, hey, like listen, like you still need developers. Like the company that I work for, we just hired few full stack developers. Like one of my other friend, he works in a company, they're hiring software engineers. Like I think the part of like having a hard time finding a job right now is not so much like AI is replacing developers. It might be a narrative that some managers are using to kind of justify kind of like, you know, it's not their management that led to layoffs, like, or bad mismanagement of hiring people that led off to layoffs, but it's more like, oh, we had a reason. We are using AI. Like, I think it could be like an excuse because at the end of the day, I still have no idea of how many people like, or know anyone who actually got replaced by AI. So I want to kind of explore these AI tools like in this open format where I try to build something with AI here on stream and kind of give people an idea, because I don't want anybody new who's coming to this field get so discouraged that you are not able to kind of like feel like, oh man, I'm not going to have a job for me because AI is going to replace anybody. It's just not how things are. And like I want to give like a more realistic perception, not by me telling you how things are, but like using these tools, having me in chat, having you guys and girls tell me like, oh, try this, try that. Like actually like work with me to kind of explore these tools together. So I'm going to do this every Wednesday, 8 p.m. I know it's maybe not the best time for everybody, but these streams will always be like recorded afterwards so people could like rewatch them. So if you're not here live, it's okay. But for me, like Wednesday evening, for me, like works nice because it's right before like I get ready to relax and go to sleep. So it's a good time. So we have our thing. We did ask it to utilize the SDK. And one thing that I noticed, maybe because I wasn't specific, like if we take a look at the code it's generated, we have routes. And so it has a route for generating our, or calling our response. And here's like one thing, like, so what the hell, like, so we have our route, extract content. So maybe this is to get the content. That's kind of cool. Like we'll test it out in a second, but like I'm more curious with this post generate route. And we could see here that it created a Next.js endpoint for us to, persona, blah, 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 create instructions. So it gave a lot. And is it pulling in OpenAI from AI SDK? So one thing here, yeah, so it set up the SDK for us. So we could try this, but one thing that maybe you don't want to do is you don't want to have this be a API endpoint. Like maybe you want to use like server action. So I didn't specify that. So I actually do want it to use server action. So let me tell it, instead of using generate posts endpoint, can you convert it into a server action? And so let's see what it does. Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, like definitely that is the focus is, hold on, this is a really good comment. And by the way, yeah, definitely ask in the chat comments questions, because I don't want just want to sit here and talk to myself. I'd like to answer questions. So Focus asked, is the software industry dead now? Remember a couple of years ago, we were talking about coding bootcamps, lol. Now there's AI that can build those projects in a few prompts. So here's the misconception I'm talking about. No, like the software engineer industry is not dead, and I still think it's still the best choice. I have friends, like I said earlier, maybe before I jumped on, like our company is still hiring software engineers. So there's a lot of companies that are still hiring. It's just not as easy to get a job because there's plenty of like mid-level and senior engineers that are competing for jobs as well. And some of those like companies, like not because of AI, but because of the economic hard times that we're in right now, they're not hiring as many juniors, because hiring a junior is you taking on responsibility to hire someone that needs a lot of coaching. So right now, I would argue the reason that it's hard for juniors to get hired, it's not impossible, but it's hard to get hired, is because a lot of companies are not willing to take a chance on someone that they could coach because they want to be productive. So they want to hire mid or like senior engineers that could hit the ground running. And I think it's because of the economy and the interest rates and not the AI boom. Like at our company, we are kind of like everybody's expected to try to be more effective and efficient with AI. And a lot of our software engineers do use AI, but it's a mixed bag. It's not as helpful as people think it is. And so there's still like a lot of work that you have to do as a human. Another thing I would argue, and I don't know, like for like I can't see the future, but I think right now the biggest thing is going to be is learning to use AI to make yourself productive, but you're still in the driver's seat. So AI by itself can't do anything. Like right now, like building this project, just as a simple example, like when I started it, I still had to kind of prompt it a little bit. Granted, I'm trying to use AI for everything. So I created like a little idea. I passed it into V0. It created this app. But then when it created this app, like it didn't work. Like it had this amazing UI, but nothing was hooked up. And like you still need to be a developer to have the know-how to be like, oh, bro, like the upload like doesn't do anything. I could probably point to a file, but it's not going to do anything. I don't have an image to point to. But or when I put a blog URL, like since we did add a an endpoint for this, the endpoint that it added was, oh my God, here's another problem I wanted to kind of share with all of you wonderful people. I don't know if you just saw like a second ago where we had our initial application, and so we have actions TS. Maybe it moved everything here. So we have generate social posts action. Okay, that makes sense. And extract content from URL. Okay, so it moved all of our endpoints that we had in our, man, sometimes like I have no idea how to use my own software. But yeah, if anybody have more questions, like definitely ask. So I moved everything into actions. Okay, it's pretty nice. I'm kind of curious if this would work. So if we preview, and we have blog URL. So if we go here, let's go to like a random website. My internet, why are you so slow? Solution developers. My internet is killing me. Why? Why is my internet freezing? Let's go to like just a random blog post. I just kind of curious. Maybe I'm streaming at too high of a quality. I don't know. I'm just gonna take a very basic blog post, but I want to find like a simple blog post. So I wrote this one. We had a Chris from Astro do a talk with us, by the way. This was actually pretty cool. If you have never used Astro, Astro is pretty awesome. Highly recommend it. This is actually a cool video. Chris and I talked about kind of like why you should build things with Astro. It's pretty cool. I mean, I love just like Astro, React, Remix, anything React related, and Astro is cool. Vue.js, or like I'm not too much interest to try, but let's take this URL for this blog post and see if our application that Vercel V0 created actually works. So we paste it in, hit enter. I hit enter. I hit enter. I said I hit enter. Well, and here's the problem. It's like, okay, you vibe coded your way this far. You went ahead and you tried to put the URL. You hit enter and nothing's happening. Here's my argument number one that I want to make, like, is if you don't know how to code and how to kind of see like what the hell is happening here, like maybe I have to hit generate. Okay, maybe it's a skill issue. It's my fault. Let's hit generate social posts. All right, OpenAI key is missing, but I'm pretty sure that it did not extract that. Okay, so let me go off screen. Like I'll set up this, but I'm not pretty sure that it might have not called this action to get the data, but we will see. So anyway, so the point there still stands here is that notice how I prompted my way, I did all the things, and it's not a final product. It's not, production ready. There's so much work that I still have to do to make this work, and you're gonna see that I'm not going to be able to deploy it from here to production. Like what we're going to end up doing is pulling this code locally and actually coding physically. But we're not going to code physically because I'm challenging myself to try to build everything with just AI. And it's freaking hard because I want to code. I want to type stuff. But we're going to talk about that in a second. Let me look in chat. So, yep. Yeah, so let's see. There's a lot of good. When I was in the job, like you, I felt invisible and had that survival bias, but now the trenches, I'm feeling the burn again. Yeah, and here's the thing I'm going to tell you, like it's just hard switching jobs and going between jobs. It's just really difficult for anybody. There's no software engineer that I'm like, unless they've been doing it for a long time and they're like super like chill with like, going through the interview process. Like one of my friends who recently got laid off. Well, it's been 4 months now, but he got laid off 4 months ago. And then it took him 2 months to get a job, and he got a job and it pays more than his previous job. The position is better. So he was able to get hired. But when I talked to him, like, bro, how was that process? And he's a senior level, and he was like, it was stressful. It was a headache. There's some interviews that he's like, I didn't do as well as I wanted to. And then there's interviews that I did do well. So it's just a stressful process. And I think like keeping a job and getting a job is like two different skill sets. There's like that skill set of reaching out to people, going to social events, meeting people where you could be like, hey, is your company hiring? Can you refer me to your company? I think like sending resumes alone is not like the best strategy. You really have to kind of try to reach into your social circle and try to find references or reaching out to people directly. And that's kind of something that I did to do that. And then, yeah, like I missed one of your comments here. Yeah, it must be the economy. After reaching mid-senior level, I struggle to even get an interview now. I'm concentrating on my own side projects now because I have no faith. I think you should have faith in the industry. I don't think it's like, I know it's hard, and I think it's easy to get discouraged because where the state of the industry is, but I would argue it's still a better industry to be in than like other positions. I mean, like, I would start, like, let me clear that, like, if you enjoy programming, software engineering, like, you could still find a job, you could still get hired. It's just hard, and it takes, like, a lot of people use different strategies, but like, it's not just sending your resumes, it's making connections, reaching out to friends who are industry, like going to different Discord servers and being part of the conversation. Like for instance, I work for this company like Strappy, right? But the way I got hired here, first of all, I built tons of projects with Strappy. I realized I'm not sharing my screen. I built like lots of projects with Strappy. I would hang out in their community. I made like videos and content about Strappy, and like I really evolved myself in the tech stack. And then I applied, and based on, you know, like different interactions I had someone refer me to the company, so that helped a lot. If you could get a referral, that's like literally the best way to go, because that gives you an in. And so basically what I would say is it just takes extraordinary amount of work to get hired, and obviously it's not like the answer that a lot of people are looking for, but it's just the fact that it's hard, but it's not impossible. And what I would say, like, when you're looking to get hired, looking for social connections and references is definitely a way to go. A lot of the jobs that I got, it wasn't just sending my resume, but it's having a connection at the company that I could be like, hey, I just sent my resume because Michael recommended me. And whenever you have a referral at the company, like, people will look at your resume first. So definitely keep it up, and you know, don't lose hope, but it is stupid hard. It really is, like, and it can get discouraging. But to be honest, like, if you had to try to get a job anywhere else, I feel like you would have that same discouraging like experience, to be honest. Because I remember when I was moved to Texas, I needed to get just any job, and I applied at Starbucks, I applied at supermarkets, I applied in a bunch of other places because I was still not being hired. This was like 5 years ago. I was not being hired as a developer, and literally, like, I couldn't even get a job at Starbucks. It was like so stupid. I did get a job at HEB. It's the best, grocery store in Texas. And then I worked there while still studying to code, and then eventually I got my coding job. But yeah, it's just not easy. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's so hard for me to yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, it's just insane, and it's so hard for me like to keep track of everything either. Like, even like with this YouTube channel, like, I haven't streamed in forever or like made videos in forever. It's so inconsistent because like even that's hard. But yeah, the main reason all of your content is because you love coding. Lol, it gives me motivation to resume. Yeah, no, 100%. You gotta love it, otherwise it gets depressing really quickly. And then you also want to say, I can't believe I've been following you for several years now. Lol, time flies. Yeah, it's 2025 now. I can't believe it either. And to be honest, it's like this is gonna sound weird, and I know it's not for everybody. Like, I can't tell people like this is the type of like view you should have on life. But I take like a look at it. Like, I'm naturally like very like, and we'll get to our project in a second, I promise. I'm very like pessimistic. A lot of people don't think so. I am very like, maybe more like realistic, and I always think that life is always going to be hard. Things are always going to be difficult. And I do have a lot of negative like self-talk, and it's a problem for me. And so one of the things that helped me with that, because one of my friends like, Paul, you're always like thinking the worst. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I want to be prepared for the worst. And what he said to me, like, well, what if it does work out? Like, what if you will get that job at one point? What if you do this? Or what if that actually opportunity that you were looking for comes up? It's like, are you going to be there to take advantage? And then I realized, it's like, yeah, like, we can't be in control of like all the bad things that could happen in our life, but we could at least control the space that we have here right now, and just be like, yeah, me getting a job may not be guaranteed. Me getting this is not guaranteed. But if I keep doing this, what if I do get hired? What if I do get a job? What if I make that transition? And I think the hardest part about it is how do you find when to completely give up 100%? And I'm definitely the worst person to ask this, is because all the things I did in my life, I did them until they worked. So I used to do masonry, like construction. I tried to get into masonry, like building stone walls and stuff, until I got good enough to get hired. Then I used to teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professionally. I used to have my own like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, and I literally failed at that for a long time until I succeeded, until I got hired, and then until I got my own place, until I got my own business. And same thing with coding. I was like, I'm gonna do this until I get hired. And sometimes like your life doesn't wait for you, and you have to kind of make a compromise to be like, well, I need to pay my bills too. And it's like, do I give up my dream? And I think like pursuing software engineering, just because it's a tech industry and you might not get a job as a software engineer, there's so many other tech adjacent careers. I think it's still worth it, even at this point, to kind of pursue it. And so I would not quit. But the hard part is like, well, I still need to pay my bills. And for me, like I remember while learning to code, getting my first tech job, it didn't pay my bills. So I literally had to work as a developer because my first job paid nothing. It paid me like $13.75 an hour. Pretty much the same amount of money that my supermarket job paid. So I had to work both. I had to work at the supermarket and as a developer to kind of make ends meet. And then the second job was a little bit easier to get. The third job, but with the state of like economy in the world, it is just hard. And one of the things that I started doing in my life, and again, like this is my opinions, and this is like for me personally, is so like I'm not saying this is what everybody should do, because it might not make sense in your life, but I know how weird the world is right now. And so what I'm trying to do in my life, and for me it's easier because like I'm single, my daughter's 25, she lives on her own. Like I don't have the day-to-day responsibility of a family. When you have a family, that's a discussion you have to have with like your significant others, like about like, okay, what kind of commitment you could do. But what I'm trying to do is to kind of downsize my life so I don't have a big like I'm trying to get rid of stuff that I don't need so I don't have to pay as many bills. I'm trying to not get into new things so I could save a little bit more money just in case there's an emergency. So I'm trying to like, instead of being like, I need a job to make all my financial dreams come true, maybe be a little bit more realistic about my life. And it's like, what's the bare minimum I need to be able to live? So that way, if good things or bad things happen, like I'm going to be okay to take advantage of it. I'm not saying that's like something people should do. Yeah, but living like that is very hard, especially if you have family and responsibilities. But I came to this country as an immigrant, like when my family had nothing. And like we all so I learned to live basically poor. For like being poor for me was like a default state. So like I'm like, well, I know what poor feels like, so I'm not missing out. So like I'm not as depressed when things don't go my way because I've been there. And to me, like weirdly as it sounds, it's like a mental default of how like to get back there. But anyway, let's kind of, if you have anybody like keep asking questions, I love to chat. But let's take a look at what we got here. So we're vibe coding. I didn't really plan anything. We put our initial prompt, we got our application, nothing is hooked up. So now like V0 is kind of cool, but like you don't get any feedback, or at least good feedback, like if your application is working. So with like a tool like V0, it's easy to kind of get started with a basic prompt. At the end of the day, if you're not sure kind of what any of this stuff does, it's not production ready. So we could already see that vibe coding to $1 million without knowing anything about code is like impossible endeavor. So I'm just going to say, if someone tells you they're vibe coded their way without knowing how to code, literally BS. So what we're going to do now as a practice, let's download our code and let's take a look at it, and then maybe use that as a starting point to kind of keep it moving and seeing. So download the zip, open, let's find our project. Let's go cd, let's make directory called make directory vibe coding, cd vibe coding. I could make this probably bigger, not that it. Perfect. And then I'm gonna open this folder. And then I just downloaded that project from V0. I'm going to pop it in here. So it should now be here. Yeah, let me rename it to something. Rename. I'm going to call it client. Dude, it's embarrassing that for me it's easier to rename the file from the Explorer than doing in terminal, running the what's the command? Copy. I don't remember the command, to be honest. I don't really care. So let's cd into client and open it in VS Code, which is going to open cursor because we want to use AI to make this project work. And at the moment, and let's actually take a look here. So this is just a basic Next.js application. Here's another problem I have here. So I just use AI tools, and I want to kind of show you. So just because I see Tailwind config TS, I know that it's not using the newest, greatest Tailwind 4, right? And we could take a look at package.json here, and it's pulling ShadCN UI, which should be using Tailwind 4. But look, we're using Tailwind CSS, and we're probably using older version of ShadCN UI. Okay, not a deal breaker for me, but hey, listen, like if you look at an application that I I want to go to GitHub. No, what are you going here? GitHub, github.com. Take me to GitHub. So I have this application that I'm working. Did I call it Coding After 30? I don't even know what a Coding After 30 next, I'm assuming. Yeah, 5 days ago. So it's a current one. If you take a look at this package JSON, like check this out. Like, dude, my internet is destroying me. Don't do anything without my permission. npm view. Do not allow. Do not do anything. Okay. I don't know what happened. It was hilarious because I was vibe coding so hard. Something somewhere decided to turn off my computer. There was some weird command. Anyway, if you are all still here and you're back, welcome back. If not, I totally understand. Let me just turn on some music and let me like fix my screen share back to my normal stuff here. All right. That happened. Yeah, by the way, okay, so let me restart my music. I like to have music while I do stuff. Yeah, also, here's like another tip pro tip I want to give you. So like, I'm using the beta version of Apple OS, and don't ever download stuff on your work computer that's using beta OS from Apple, because good Lord, not the experience I was hoping for, but that's okay. We'll power through it. So I know we were looking at my Coding After 30 project, and we're using like the greatest Tailwind 4, we're using newer components. And so here's the thing, like with V0, it didn't have access to or create a project using Tailwind 4. Like, you know, and so sometimes that's another thing. Like sometimes AI is just going to decide for you what would be like the best idea. Maybe it is aware that Tailwind exists. So maybe we could say this. I already downloaded the project. I'll download it again because I'm sure this is going to break it. But I could say refactor to use Tailwind 4. But I don't think it's going to be able to do that. I might not have that context available for it. And yeah, and I was going to answer this question, and I'll focus if you're back. But I think Your question to, I guess, the new software developer job is QA tester, project manager to oversee the AI. I don't think that's still that we're that far yet. I think you're a developer that is trying to learn how to be a little bit more productive with AI tools, but the AI tools is not going to help you. Like one of the interesting things, like I was troubleshooting something at work today with another software engineer from the community, and the issue he had was so complex that he's like, we need a couple of people with a couple of different like opinions to kind of help us to think through this problem. And somebody says, why don't you use AI? And he's like, literally like, this problem has so many different things to consider that it's just going to be a waste of my time. And somebody's like, no, use AI, see if it could help you. And of course, he tried to use AI and it didn't help. It didn't work. And so to me, like, I think we're not at that point yet. So we're going to see if I was able to refactor to Tailwind 4 just using V0. And by the way, like, if you are kind of like have other tools you want me to check out and test, let me know. For this week and probably until we get this project into some sort of working order, I'm going to stick with V0 and Next.js. And then because like I don't want to quit too early on this project. I do want it to get to a point where it does something. So we refactored, and this is not right because Tailwind config.ts doesn't exist in Tailwind 4 anymore. They moved all their configuration to the directly into the CSS. So if you take a look here in my personal project that I built from scratch, there is no tailwind.config file, and all the configuration is inside global CSS. So see, you have your theme. And so even though like something as simple like this, V0 is just not able to do it. And so this is not correct. And so that's okay. We're going to kind of stop here because we have our base, right? We have our base of our application. I downloaded locally. So let's start it locally in our local development so we could kind of check it out here. And I'm just not going to complain too much about tailwind.config and the fact that it used CSS 3. No big deal. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to run. I also don't like the fact that it used PNP. Like, to be honest, I'm not saying like I don't like PNP. Move to trash. I'm just going to use yarn. You know what? No, Paul. Don't let your personal feelings get in the way. It's okay to use PNP. We'll keep it PNPM. Is it start? I don't use PNPM. Oh, it's not even installed. You know what? I'm not going to go out of my way to do that. I'm just going to delete PNPM. No big issue. I'm just going to reinstall I'm going to RM. I don't think I installed anything, so I'm going to run yarn. Listen, I use yarn. I don't care what people say. It is what it is. So here we are, vibe coding. And kind of seeing that it's not as straightforward as some of these vibe coding bros make it out to be. It's actually not that easy to build a application by vibe coding if you yourself don't know what you're doing as a developer. But just quick recap, we asked ChatGPT to come up with some ideas. We took the first one to generate social posts easily. We went ahead and used V0 to create our first version. Nothing works, but we have this beautiful UI. Nothing is hooked up. And so after we did this, as a starting point, we downloaded the project, and now we have it open in VS Code, and we adding NPM packages. And then the goal would be is to restart the project and start to kind of focus on getting some of the functionality to work. And then while it's loading stuff, we could kind of review what we have in the folders. Let me move my face to this side. People are like, why are you moving your face? A is so we have access to here, and B is so I could play with my VS Code pets. We need more cats. We need a black cat. Yes, Sam. And then we need to get a fox. Do they have a fox? They have a fox. They got to have a fox. Fox. White fox. All right, now entertained. Who needs friends when you have VS Code pets? That sounds very depressing. But anyway, so here we are. We have our project, and our Next.js project, basic general structure. We have our app directory. Right now, all we have is our layout, which is responsible for our layout. It's complaining because I'm still installing stuff. That's okay. Then we have our page, and it went ahead. All of our code that was generated is here. It has some sample data. It's a client component. Let's make everything client. Like, I don't understand why, and I don't understand why it stuck everything into one thing. And this is like another thing with like the AI. And we'll wait till everything installed. It's like, so here, I asked it to create stuff, and it went ahead and kind of like put everything like in one file. And I could like continue in V0 to kind of say like, hey, move the files to another thing, but then like I'm not in like a good dev environment in VS Code. Yeah, I could probably make changes here, but this is not like a dev environment, and it's like very not straightforward. So I think like use it, like AI, in my opinion, is like really good tool to like iterate different ideas. And maybe like once you have something that kind of like an idea that you have, you could download it and then put it in VS Code and go from there. So I don't think like I've had a good experience where it's like you could build a full app from zero to production in V0 or Bolt.io or like whatever. Like there's still like, without having to, you as a developer, actually do something. Yeah, and let me look at chat. Yep. Yeah, and I guess the best approach is just to stick with one company. I was desperate to have my last company despite the pay and benefits because I wanted to finish building my projects. I mean, like, I think like it's just, and then you just said, I just saw myself working 20 to 30 years. That's weird that moved my account. Working 20, 30 years and barely being able to afford a house versus struggle on my own and try to reach for the stars. I think like it also depends like how young you are. Like here's like to put things in perspective. Like I've been in like 3 different industries that are so different. I've been in construction, and I got to a point where I was able to make a livable wage to like, support my family, not rich, but be able to pay my bills. Then I completely switched careers, started my own business where I taught Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where I had my own school. And at that point, I just barely crossed like a 6-figure income as being like a business owner. But I worked like 24/7. I worked 7 days a week because it was my own business. I didn't take any vacation. I did that for a while. And then I switched into development and started working as a software engineer. And I've been doing it like being in tech for like past 4.5, almost 5 years, about 5 years, and going on 6th, I think, because I was 39. I'm about to be 45. Yeah, so about like give or take 5+ years. And I didn't start at the high income. Like when I switched careers from my business to, from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be a developer, I took a huge pay cut, like humongous pay cut, that I had to work 2 jobs to support myself. And yeah, what's funny, like, Focus, is, I mean, I'm not saying funny, like, haha, like, what's crazy is that you're at the age that, like, I started to learn to code seriously. And what I would say, like, you're at 34, you're already farther along in your tech journey than I was when I was 34, 35, like, when I started, because I'm 45 now. It's like almost the joke is, like, this channel shouldn't be called Coding After 30. So, like, think of it this way, like, you're 34. I got my first dev job at 39, and I'm 45 now. And I'm putting that in perspective to be like, you literally have like if you get a job like tomorrow, you're going to beat me by 5 years of being ahead of where I was when I started. So like sometimes it's just depressing to know like right now we having hard time to find a job or we don't have the opportunity. But the fact that you're so far ahead of than I was at my age when I was going, because I got my first job at 39 and you already worked in the industry, right? And so like you're like, you know what I mean? Like you're so way ahead of me. I think like that is should be motivating. Just continue to do what you're doing. And like I think like when you're doing stuff, looking for jobs, when things don't work out, try to do some self-reflection to be like, what is like, so like I look at life like, okay, there's my emotions and my feelings, and then there's reality, like actual facts of, and I might feel like when I first tried to get a job that there was a case of ageism or I was too old or like whatever, that people weren't hiring me. No, people were hiring me because like whatever the reasons, maybe I wasn't qualified, maybe they had better candidates, maybe had that. And so there's this like reality of like, it's not you, it's that maybe you need to try to get more referrals and not just send out your resume. That might be like the case. I'm just kind of like naming a bunch of things. Maybe it's like trying to find a very specific job industry with a very specific like tech that they use, and just really make sure you prepare for those type of interviews. Just apply to those type of companies. I mean, like there's so many different little things that could be like that. Try to kind of see what levers can you move to kind of help you to increase your chances. And everything is like element of preparation and luck. But as in your life, you have these little levers that you could push and pull to try to make you like stand out a little bit more or be a better candidate. But I think like to me, like it's any job that you try to get is going to be hard. Like I said earlier, how like when I was trying to just get a job at Starbucks and I couldn't even get hired at Starbucks, it's like, it's just the economy and the situation sometimes, and it's just hard. But anyway, so let's see if all of our code has done its thing. So, okay, so now that our project is all the dependencies installed, I should be able to run, come on, let me type yarn dev to start the project. And then if we take a look at it, localhost 3000. Nice. So perfect. We did something. We created a prompt. We created our basic project with AI, realized that nothing works, nothing hooked up. And so now it's our job as a developer to make this work. And so the first part I want to kind of see here. So we have this content input, and like the part that I'm not happy with AI, and again, like I didn't go out of my way to prompt it like too much, but it stuffed everything into one file. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm trying not to code physically. I'm going to try to have AI do it. And can you break, so I'm going to ask it, can you break this page into separate components and move to separate files? Let's see what this does. It's probably like break it. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that building things with AI is, if you're not a developer, like you're not going to get far. And AI by itself can't build anything. That's the facts. And so the only way someone could like use AI to build something is that they have to be a developer. Like it just is. There's no like non-developer can't do this. Like we're already like looking at code like here, and we have to be able to understand what this code is doing to be able to direct the AI. And it's doing a bunch of stuff, and we'll see like if it does anything useful for us. So I'll help you break down the large page components to small components, user components. Let's first examine the structure. Okay, good job. Now I'll create separate component files for each logical section of the page. Let me start by content input. Like, I don't even know if that makes sense, but okay. we'll say that that makes sense. We'll let AI do it, and we'll see how much trouble we get into. But the whole point here, again, is that it is not straightforward. And at this point, like, I know for a fact that AI, like marketers or people who own companies, they're trying to like basically sell this kind of image of their company. Like Nvidia, they sell a lot of Nvidia chips, and they want to sell this idea that all developers are going to replace by AI. So buy our AI chips because you're going to need them, type of deal. So I think like a lot of people tell and spin a lot of stories to kind of sell a certain narrative, to kind of promote a certain idea, but it doesn't mean that it's the facts, and doesn't mean that AI is replacing developers. And I would really call BS if someone said, you know, like, hey, you were replaced by AI. It's just not happening at the point. And then folks says, let me go back. The thing is, I have no network. I've landed jobs before by being a good fit for a company. So I'm focused on building projects in my domain, crypto trading, blogging about it, etc. Yeah, perfect. Share on Twitter. What I would say, like one of the biggest things that kind of helped me to kind of become more aware is I started going to meetups. And I know for some people, like going to physical places and talk about, but if you're blogging, like making posts on social, engaging in other communities, that's like a good first step. And then what I would say, it's like the companies that you're kind of looking to apply to is, and I don't know if you're looking for remote work or you're okay working at companies that are actually local to you, or doing hybrid, but see like who works at the companies, like do some like stalking on Twitter, see kind of like what projects they're building, or if their posts are doing, start resharing their posts, start engaging their conversations, and start kind of connecting with those key people through social. And then sometimes sharing like, oh, hey, like you were building this, I have a question about this because I'm building this project and it's very similar, you know. And so start to kind of try to inject yourself into conversation. And some people make an argument like, oh man, that's too much work. And that's true. But I feel like you need to kind of try to go out of your way to socialize and make these connections that could lead to opportunity, because by ourselves it'll be very, very hard to get somewhere. But it is hard. It is hard. And then, yep. And then I've passed 45 interviews with the companies, passed 45 stages, but felt the behavior. I read that more interviews the company gives you, the more reasons that so the behavioral part is kind of hard, because there's like there is this idea of like how you are at presenting yourself, how you are working with teammates. Are you like, when you're doing this interviews, are you oversharing? Are you like, so if like, to me, like the part I would say, like this is a good kind of like show, like the part that you have to kind of improve on is the social aspect of interviewing, and like they call it the culture fit. And but the good news, it's stuff that you could work on, you know. Yeah. And then I might start YouTubing like you. It worked for you. I mean, that is true. Like, so here's the crazy part. Like it wasn't just YouTubing. It's the fact that I started interacting with people that I met on YouTube. Like I met Web Dev Cody. I talked to him, and he actually, when his company he was working for hiring, he kind of connected me a while ago and asked me if I wanted to send my resume. I did. I didn't pass the interview because they were building stuff with Angular, and that's not something I was like interested in. And then I met a bunch of other people on YouTube that led me to meeting the developer advocate from Strapi, that led me to live streaming with them, that led me to making a joke being like, hey, I'm going to apply to Strapi and I'm going to say that you refer me. So the point is, the more social connections where you actually engage and you try to provide value to other people as well, not just taking, like I think it will open definitely opportunities and lead to you making connections that could lead to like future opportunities. So 100%, like the only issue, like it all takes time. But to me, like, you know, I ain't got no, you know, nothing, like I'm not gonna go bars or like parties. So to me, like I don't mind this. Anyway, so we're continuing with our refactor, trying to, in this vibe coding thing, to just use AI. It did a bunch of stuff. I'm just gonna blindly hit accept. Usually it's not a good idea. And then we're gonna see, we should have more stuff in the components. Okay, that's great. And then if we look at our page file, dude, I don't like this. So here's another thing, like it created this huge client component and we have like bajillion state here. And we have handle generate function. So yeah, I'm not really like, so AI created my code, but I'm not really 100% happy with it. And the question that I'm gonna possess here to you, my dear viewers, is would I been better off creating this myself rather than having V0 create this? And now for me being like, God damn, I gotta refactor it. Like, I don't even like voice persona that has all these options. So like, so yeah, that's just so annoying to me. I think, yeah, so I'm like literally annoyed with AI because like now I feel like I have to take somebody else's work, AI, and then try to refactor it in a way that makes sense. Because to me, you know, whatever, we're gonna fly with this. Let's get it to work, then we'll refactor later. That's what I like to say. And see, yeah, and so this is our local host. We could upload file. We have blog URL. So let's start with the content and provide your blog post or video transfer, generate social media, blog URL. I'm kind of curious, like right now, the way this works is, okay, so I'm trying to understand what AI did for us. We could select the things that we want, our options. Okay, that's great. I like that multi-select. We could select our voice persona. Let me go off screen and add open AI key because I want to actually, like, before testing it, let me just, so you could upload file, you could add a URL, but why if I just want to paste in the text? Okay, anyway, we'll start one step at a time. Yeah, let me kind of go here for a second. I'm going to go into this mode because I want to get my OpenAI API key. I want to stick it somewhere in my Next.js application. And we're going to see if the current AI app that we have works as expected. Yeah, that's like another good point. Like, I do feel like using cursors make me dumber though. I miss the old days of pure code though. It doesn't make things efficient though, so you're forced to use it. It's hard to trust it fully though. Yeah, so I do notice that too. Like it's 100% making me feel dumber. I like 1000%. And so what I started to do, number one, like I started reading books like this. I don't recommend this book. I just got it for free, but it's like problem solving for programming concepts. And then like I have Cursor, but I also have VS Code instance that has no AI. And so there's what I'm trying to do, like in projects like this vibe coding one, use Cursor, use the AI tools. And then for certain projects, it's like I want to build from scratch. I want to flex my own mental muscle, and there's no AI in it whatsoever. And if I do get stuck, like I could use like ChatGPT to search something or like whatever, but not kind of get into an idea. And I think it's important like for us to kind of come up with strategies where we leverage AI for learning and to get smarter faster, and has with us teach how to think through stuff rather than just using it to solve our problems. So we don't want to add the most important skill, which is solving problems, to AI. We want to flex our brain to do that. Hey, Northern Chip, good to see you. Hope you're doing amazing. Another long-time follower, like forever. Yeah, I'm just trying to like force myself to not go down the route where AI is my solution for everything, because one of like the nightmares I have, and it's like, imagine internet goes down and you have no AI, and then what? Then you're just stuck. And so my biggest fear is not to be able to do things on my own, because AI makes it so easy to do things for you. But as we're learning today, that's technically not true. AI is not solving our problems fully. Like we're trying to vibe code this stupid app here. And we're making progress, but it's not like straightforward progress we're making. And I'm just trying to get my OpenAI API key so I could test it out to see if it works. I'm gonna make a quick OpenAI key, and if I accidentally leak it, I could like delete it. I'm known to leak stuff everywhere. And my internet is like super not cool, super slow today, but that's okay. Create new secret key, delete me. That's what I'm gonna call it. Create a secret key, copy, and then in my VS Code, I gotta add it, and then we'll test our project. I'm just looking, don't know what. Try to remember how the hell you set your API key specifically, and I'm looking at their docs. Northern Chim says, I don't ask it to fix things, ask how I could fix them. Exactly. I think your approach is very smart, and that's kind of like the path I'm trying to go. And I don't always have to go for the solution. Yeah, I think that's the most important part, is to catch yourself, you know, like instead of asking it to solve something, it literally comes to that old age answer, like, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he fishes and doesn't do any work. I don't remember exactly how the saying goes, but just kidding aside, the idea is that don't tell me how to do something, teach me how I could do that thing myself. So I don't rely on you, but I rely on myself to accomplish those goals. Yeah, 100%. It's so funny. Like I can't type and speak or look at the screen at the same time. I've been trying to look up something because I'm trying to put an API key somewhere, so I'm not sharing my code at the moment, but I will in a minute. My brain. I'm just gonna say for a while. Oh no! I just realized I am in a different computer, so I might not even have it. Oh God! Let me go to my GitHub. All right, I will be back in a second. I'm just trying to see something. Local. Okay, I just need this OpenAI key. I'm coming back in the code in a second. I promise. Make new file. New file. Okay, I'm almost done. I promise. I promise. I'll probably still end up leaking my env, like so. It is going to be what it is. Oh no. Oh no. You're not seeing the pain I'm suffering right now. I have Vim shortcuts enabled that I don't like in Cursor, and I gotta disable that because I don't really care for Vim shortcuts or any of that other stuff. Okay, I think that's done. So let's go back to my code. So I added my env. Here we are in our local project. Where's our local project? Is it running? Let's start it, yarn dev. And then it should be in localhost 3000. And in theory, we should be able to go to random blog post. And it should be able to, let me find a blog post I wrote so I'm not doing anything crazy. So we're gonna see if this works. So here we are in our application. If I do this, paste, we have our URL. We're gonna say LinkedIn thought leader, makes sense. This we're gonna keep the same. Click generate, and it's doing something. It's generating. It is doing some amazing stuff. And it worked. That is amazing. Okay, AI won. God damn it. The app works. It only, but like the fact that it works, like is it production ready? No, it's not. And like there's a lot of refactoring that we need to do and a lot of stuff. But as a general kind of like proof of concept, and upload file probably doesn't work. Let's try this. Let me go here. I'm just gonna do this. I'm curious now. I'm gonna just select everything. It doesn't matter. Well, no, I don't want to select everything. Good Lord. I just want some text. I'm just gonna copy this text. Copy. I'm gonna go Control C. Touch CD. I don't know what I'm doing. Oops. No, allow. Okay, allow. I'm gonna touch the test.txt. Open. Touch. Open test.txt. Okay, we have it here. Let's paste in that dummy code. So we have our file. So let's check if our upload function works. So let's click upload, desktop, test, open. File uploaded successfully. And then let's generate social post. Failed to fetch. no, no, you failed, you did not work. So see, not everything works. So it's not straightforward. Well, okay, user error, by the way, guys, user error. I spoke too soon. So that was on me. That was on me. I think AI is smarter than that. CD vibe coding, CD client. I didn't have the project running, so I will eat my lunch. Yarn dev. Now that it's working. Okay, let's try that again. Upload image, upload test, open, and then click generate social post. Nice. Elevate your web game, Astro static by default. Cool. So it works. And I think like the lesson here is it's 100% not production. I don't want like people to take this, oh, it works. We did it, mission accomplished. We made a production app. The reality of what we just did here is, no, I'm not purposely trying to discredit UI. Eventually, like, listen, here's like, the deeper problem with AI is that if AI could do everything like humans can, then there's going to be no point of humans, right? This is the deeper question we should have. But at the same time, I'm not trying to discredit AI, but the point is like here's the issue. Like, so if you use like image generation, if you guys and girls and everybody ever played with Midjourney text generation, like you could ask for the same picture and it will generate that same picture slightly differently. It'll never be 100% deterministic. Like one thing here is like we have this application that we built, but I just want to show you something. Look at this. I'm going to start a new chat. I want to show you the first problem with AI. New chat. I'm going to pass the same exact prompt that we had before. And I'm going to paste it in. Now, like and I realized I'm not sharing my screen. So what I did is I created a new chat. I used the same prompt that we had before. We passed it to Vercel. And we're going to say generate. Now, like one thing I might say, maybe they have this cached and maybe it'll generate the same project, but I'm going to regenerate this again. And we're going to see like something. And I'm going to guarantee you that it's not going to be, it might be similar, but it's not going to be verbatim and look exactly the way this app is with exactly same code structure. And this is by the nature of what LLMs are. LLMs are, they're dumb. They are. LLMs, they don't know like what a human is. They don't know what white is. They don't understand language. All they're able to do is statistically predict what is the most likely next text output based on the prompt you gave it. And it's literally a very fancy prediction machine. And there's more stuff under the hood that's not just LLM to kind of help it predict things accurately and keep it in scope. For instance, this uses Next.js, it uses Shadcyan UI component because that's what the model was to be trained on. And so that has kind of context. But the point is you could give the same prompt 10 times and 10 times is going to produce a different result. And to me, that is a problem with LLMs is because it's just the most like appropriate text generated output that it can have. And so let's take a look here at what it creates. And then we'll go from there. And yeah, and what I'm going to do, by the way, I'm going to save the changes of this app that we have so we could kind of continue refactoring and try to build it to something a little bit more useful and then try to deploy it. But at least we have a starting point. And in terms of lessons that I would give is, so see, like this is annoying for me because like I like this better. Some features I like better. So let's compare. So notice I created a similar app with two different things. And this is like going to be the learning lesson here that I'm going to share with you. Based on this experience that we all had right now, and kind of like how to think about it. Because if you look at our app, UI is slightly different. I don't have an option like I do. Let me delete this, delete this, delete this, move this here. Like I like this paste text option that I didn't have before. And so I like this additional functionality. But our original app doesn't have it. It has just file upload. Also, another thing that it kind of made better in the second attempt, I like how it made the drop down for selecting and choose the persona. But it simplified certain other aspects of that, where in our current app, I like the fact that you could select a persona, but you could give it creativity level. And if you want to include emojis or not. And so this is better in some regards, and this is better in some regards. So I'm going to download this because I'm going to kind of keep that for my personal private entertainment. But the point that I'm making here, AI obviously will generate a different response having the same prompt. It'll never be 100%. That's an issue. I'm not saying it's a bad issue. It's just inconsistent. And so the point is, instead of using AI to build the application for production, what I could have done, I could have ran the same prompt 5 times, and we would have had 5 slightly different projects. And every different project will have certain things that maybe it did before, maybe it didn't. Like I like the fact that it has this paste text thing, right? And so what you're able to do, you're able to compare the projects, look at the code, and say, you know what, in my project, I really like this part, so I'm going to keep this part for my main project. Or I really don't like this. I think this project made it better. So use it to iterate, build a POC really quickly, try a bunch of different things really fast, because I didn't have to do much here. And then based on the output that you get, 5 different versions of the app, you could pick and choose. You could have lessons learned. You could think about kind of the thing that you're building. And so AI is perfect for iteration, ideation, like trying things out to allow you to get a better grasp of what you do. So the way I've been, and this will be like a good place to end, and I'll save that project to a repo and push it, and I'll put it to the description of this video later. But the point here is that I want to say is that AI is not a magic bullet. We saw that you still need a lot of guidance from the developer to build anything. So if you're not a developer, you're not building anything with AI. I'm sorry to tell you, like you do have to understand what you want. 2, it produces, given the same prompt, it will produce different result every time. It is not deterministic by nature, because it's like, it has like levels of determinism you want to give it, but it will always create slightly different result. And so that inconsistency is terrible, like in big projects, because sometimes you might ask for a change and it might update the thing that, especially if you're using agent mode and cursor, it will update the thing that you're working on, and then it might update a bunch of stuff that already works. And so you're like, man, like that's not what I wanted to update. And you become like playing this game of like whack-a-mole, where it's like the previous prompt broke the thing that worked before. And so that's something to keep in mind. So for us, like what I would say, using it for ideation, trying things quickly, trying to work on things in isolation, where you're trying to talk to the problem, maybe like that's still a good use case of AI. And maybe there's other workflows that we could explore. And that's the whole point. Like I'm going to be doing this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. CST time, of exploring AI tools to build stuff, just so I could kind of get better understanding where they're good, where they're bad, where, I should use them more, where I should not use them more, so I could have a more of a realistic understanding of the tools, rather this idea of kind of like, oh my God, AI is going to take over jobs. Like, no, like right now, AI is not there. It's not there. It has very certain specific use cases. Like I see like there might be where people are creating tools that are helpful for developers with AI. Like But just having AI build everything from scratch is just not it's not where we're at. And so I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I know we cut out in the middle of our stream because my computer just decided to not like me because I was making fun of AI too much. So it hurt me. But we're going to continue building this project with Next.js, V0, and Cursor. And our goal is to get it to a point where we could deploy it to production and where we have like a working app that we built with AI, and then kind of really understand where it makes sense, where it doesn't make sense. And if you missed the stream, of course, it'll be on my YouTube channel. You could always rewatch it. But I'll see you on Friday, where I'm going to keep building my personal project on the live stream. And then every Wednesday, we'll do this vibe coding. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. But thank you so much, and have a great rest of evening, day, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.